in the studio. These are my interviews today. David Litzwager has a book with National Geographic. It's about the octopus and the seahorse and jellyfish. And so I did all my show prep on that yesterday. And then this one here, this is Rebecca Metz, who I'll be with at 10 o'clock. She's part of the TV show Better Things. And it's always interesting to step into the studio and to see the handwriting of the person that did the show prep the day before, because it's never, I mean, now look over here to my left and you can see the writing of what I did this morning. And it amazes me how it changes. It's almost like it's two completely different personalities in the way that the show prepper versus the guy who gets up to write his 3 pages every morning. It seems like the one in the morning has more flow. There's more music involved there, whereas the guy who does the show prep is just throwing thoughts down. He finds things, he quickly puts it down. Have you ever studied your handwriting that way? Because, I mean, I'm not the only one who has gone through this or goes through this on a daily basis, but it's very interesting that as a writer, you find yourself in positions of constant change. Now, I am not jealous of those who can put their fingers on a computer keyboard and put words out. I just wasn't trained that way, and that's the way that Julia Cameron of The Artist Way kind of really puts out there. Use your own handwriting so you can get your own body involved in your places of thought. Get everything about you onto that page, because if you're just typing away, it's just your fingers moving, and it's not a judgment call. It's just that I find it fascinating to see that there are two different styles of handwriting that are currently right here in front of me. Hey, it's Arrow. This is The Choice. This is what I was writing while the sun was waking up on a brilliant new day, and today we're reading from April 7th, 2022. An interesting thought was shared with me in prayer this morning, and it really kind of grabbed my heart and gave it a good squeeze. I don't know if it was a positive squeeze, a loving squeeze, or a squeeze to try to get more nectar from the tree. I don't know. But this is what the thought was. For who we are isn't to be a self, but rather a united generation. For who we are isn't to be a self, but rather a united generation. This came to me while listening to my wife speak this morning about Mama Mac, who has Alzheimer's. I'm touched by the lives of those who have been chosen to be caretakers. Maybe it's because of my age. I'll be 60 this June, but I know 3 amazing heroes, and it's only been within the past couple of years. They didn't choose to be the leaders they became, yet I've never heard them complain. They accepted their roles in this everyday life. I call them earth angels. It's never been about self. As we grow with this modern wave of sights and sounds, the world is speaking in ways that showcase a united generation. I mean, look at what Poland is doing in the areas around Ukraine. We must remain strong as a people, not a self. For every decision made today can and will inspire and or poison what will become the unwritten tomorrow. It's not about self. It's about outreach. It's about community. It's about getting together and creating smoother paths for those that are in rugged times. But how do you get to that place? Is it running off to a church and instantly joining? Well, what happens there is, and I'm guilty of that, is that I did go and run to my church, and I was actively involved every day, until I became religiously burned out. Have you been there? Have you experienced that in your own life? It's not about self. It's about a united generation. But you've got to be able to do it in the way that your mind, body, and soul accepts what you are doing, because you can get easily burned out. I see it all the time with martial artists. I see it all the time with radio people and podcasters. They do. And then I can't breathe because they did it so much that they strangled their dreams, their ambitions, their goals. It's not about self. It's about a united generation. But you can overdo what you want to do. And to break free of that wall, you've got to do it one step at a time. Now, how did I break that situation where I was religiously strangled because I was just constantly giving with the outreach programs? I became it's a defrag journalist, a defrag. I broke it down. And I would sit there and remind myself, remember the last time when you gave too much, this is where you were. Are you there now? I ask the questions. How are you in this moment? And are you still a giver? Or are you doing this because it's the new addiction, the new habit? You feel like that this is what you need to be doing. So therefore, out of all things you're going to sacrifice, this is not the thing that you're going to throw to the side. And then you get burned out. Breaking through the burnout is knowing where you presently stand right now. Because getting back to where you need to be when it is the outreach, you're going to carry with you the weight of where you once used to be. So be alive in your moment, but also be aware. Don't overdo the outreach. I'm Arrow, and that's what I was writing while the sun was waking up on a brilliant new day.